Okay, your next step is you should have another board. We had one board that was 2 3/4 wide, half an inch thick, 48 inches long. Then you should have another one of those. Okay, so you're going to get your second piece, 2 3/4 wide, half inch thick, 48 inches long. And what we are going to start to do is to create the frame that goes around here. And what we're going to do is create a mitered cut. A mitered cut is splitting an angle. So this is 90-degree angle. And we're going to cut that degree in half so that we have 45 here and 45 here to meet at that angle. So how do we do that? Well, we are going to use a beveled cut to make our 45 degrees. Now we could make a 45 degrees if we stood our piece vertical and we'd get a mitered cut this way. But because our piece is taller than our frame, we are going to lay our piece down flat, clear all the dust here, and you're going to take one end here and we are going to use our beveled cut. So I'm going to get my piece. I'm going to clamp it just because where I'm at here with my piece. Typically you don't have to. Okay, so my piece is just longer than right here. So I'm going to make a beveled cut because I'm tilting my saw but keeping it going front to back at 90 degrees. Okay, so here's my saw and I'm going to start by pulling back. It's going to be a little loud and squeaky, but you guys can do it. Whew. Okay, and now I'm going to start making my cut. So here's my cut. Whew. Hopefully yours isn't this loud. It's really bad. Yeah. Okay, so here's our beveled cut that we just made. Now, most of your cuts are going to be left with this little piece of wood right here. Okay, so what we just did is we went 90 degrees this direction, but we went 45 degrees beveled this direction. Okay? So what we need to do is get our sanding block, and we just need to sand. We don't want to touch this front edge. We just need to touch this back edge to get rid of this little, we're going to call it a burr piece of wood. Okay, so your fingers should be able to just run smooth, and then sand this piece. So to give you an idea of what you're doing, once you've sanded all these pieces, this mitered corner is now going to go like this. So we line up the 45, the inside of the 45, right with the corner of our piece. Okay, and this is going to be the cutoff. So what's going to happen is here's our other 45 piece. And that's how it's going to line up. So with that, now you're going to make sure that this was a good cut. If it's not, I would practice this cut. We have extra material of this, so practice a few to make a few mitered cuts. Don't cut off a lot of, you should only be cutting off small pieces because we don't have a lot of extra pieces. But what you're going to do is then, once you practice, you're going to find the longest point of this. So here's the longest point. It sticks further out than this one. So what I'm going to do is then line up the front, line this up, and I'm going to make a mark and I'm going to make a mark right, zoom out here. So I've lined up this side on the inside with the miter pointing out, so it extends out, so that when this piece comes, and you can even put this piece here, it should sit right in that angle right there. So if I zoom in right there, it's going to sit right there. Then I'm going to put a line right here on the other side, and this is where my 90 will be with my miter 45-degree angle going out. So I'm going to flip this over, and this miter should be going. Now I would do it just a little bit beyond this point. Okay? So you can double check once I trace that 45, the outside, the long point to the long point should be 12 7/8. Okay? So the miters should go in towards each other and in towards each other. So then what I'm going to do is take this piece. I'm going to make sure that my angle is facing up, and now I'm going to cut back. I'm going to line this up and get my square. This is where the inside of my miter is. I'm going to go here, and there's my 45-degree line. So now I'm going to line that up and get my saw so it comes down just on the outside of that line. And now I'm going to cut that one. Okay, so now I have two 45s. They're going this direction. They should not be parallel going the same direction. They should be going perpendicular so that the lines would cross on all of your mitered pieces. So now, when I put this piece on here, the inside of the miter and the inside of the miter line right up on the end of your piece there and on the end of your piece there. So then you would do the same thing. You're going to take this piece now and you're going to do the next one. Sand off this burr right here. Then you're going to line these up. So this piece lines up with that piece. There's our mitered corner. And now I'm going to make a mark. Make sure these line up. I hold it there, and I'm going to drag a line on this side. So there's my line. That's the length of the inside. I'm going to get my square now. Go 90 degrees just on the outside of this. Okay, there's my 90 degree. Now I'm going to do my bevel, which is going to go outwards because it's opposite angles, not parallel. And then I'm going to set this down and cut back that direction. So you should have 4 pieces, 2 long for the top, or 1 long for the top, 1 for the bottom, and 1 for each side. So that's how you're cutting your frame to come around, and we're going to center our piece right on our frame so it looks like this. Those are your mitered cuts using our bevel on the saw.